Welcome back to another episode of One on One with Courtney Starks. Joining me today is a queen and the star of Mary J. Blige's Real Love and Strength of a Woman. Everybody show some love for Princess Davis. Thank you so much once again for being here. You could be anywhere else, but thank you for being here at One on One with Courtney Starks.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be on.
You are welcome. You are welcome. Before we get into the nitty gritty of all that was, let's talk about growing up in Vancouver.
Yes.
So I read that you started at 3. Now, a lot of us have big dreams when we're young, but then life be lifing. And we don't get an opportunity always to tap in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
At 3 years old, you knew you wanted to act. And not only did you started perfecting that craft at a young age. So run us through that and the excitement to want to get into the industry.
Yeah, for sure. I remember being like 3 and I was watching like Disney Channel or Family, and I thought like TV was so magical. Like I didn't really understand like what it was. But I thought it was super special, and I was like, I'm like, I want to be a part of this. Or I want to be those people in the TV. I just want to do that. And she was like, okay, like you're just a kid, and I feel like every kid kind of has that dream when they're young, you know. So she was like, okay, like I'll put you in background acting because I was always like, Mom, I want to do this thing. So me in background acting when I was like 3, 4, and I was kind of doing that while I was like a kid, and she'd come to set with me. And I remember one day I was on the set that I can't remember the name of, and I was like an extra, and I was talking to one of the lead cast members, and I was like, "What's it like being an actress?" And she was like, "Oh, it's like the best thing ever. Like it's so much fun." And then since that moment, I was like, "Okay, like I'm gonna do this." So I got into acting classes and I started training like very young. And then I got my first agent and started auditioning. It's my first thing, and then it's been going good.
Okay. All right. So when you speak about process and progress, what are some things that hard truths, shall I say, that you had to learn as you progressed and trained to get to where you are right now?
I think learning to be authentic to yourself is very important. Especially as an artist, you know, people say that they're like, you know, like when you're auditioning, you want to bring yourself to it. I don't think I really understood what that meant until I was like 15, 16. I started embracing myself more because I was very goofy and like weird, and I was kind of shy. I was like, I don't really know how to approach this. So I remember being in this one acting class where I really felt like fully comfortable and I was able to, you know, really bring myself to the part. I think also like uncovering your truths and like discovering your weaknesses is really important. Especially, you know, when you're telling like a very emotional story. I think being able to connect to the fragility of life is something that I've learned to do. Yeah, I just think like honesty and like really seeing yourself as an actor and also as a human is very important.
And to even add to that, how did you feel about just being a woman of color, right? Auditioning for these roles that a lot of times are not built and made for us, right? And we're talking about being our authentic selves when there are sometimes directors, right, who are wanting us to be somebody that it's out of who we are internally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I know like that was definitely like a hard space to navigate growing up. Like I live in Vancouver, there's not like a big Black population. It's not Atlanta or anywhere. Like in my school, I was basically the only Black kid, and a lot of the reason I'm always the only Black person. I think like, you know, I'm like, I have to be authentic to like who I am, you know, especially growing up with like, you know, a bunch of white kids and different ethnicity kids. I'm like, what does it mean to be Black for me? And I think that's something that took me a while to learn. You were like, you sound like a white girl. You sound like, you know, a whitewashed Black kid. And I'm like, what does that mean?
What does that even mean? Right.
I know. And then, you know, it took me a while. I remember one time there was an audition where this person was like, "Can you sound more Black?" And I was like,
what?
I don't know what that means. Yeah. But I think watching TV, watching like a lot of shows that has like watching Dear White People was really opening for me because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, look, there's so many different types of Black people and they all sound differently. And there's not
Mm-hmm.
like one version that I need to
Yeah.
be in order to book roles or in order to fit in order to
Yeah.
be presented as Black, you know? So
Yeah.
it took time.
I love that. I do. I really do love that. So you recently booked a role in Mary J. Blige's Real Love and Strength of a Woman, which is now live on Lifetime.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the process, right? Because a lot of times you go into roles or you audition for roles that normally you don't want or normally you're not kind of going for, but you're placed in. So
Mhm.
how was the audition process to get this?
Yeah, I was working on a different project when I got the audition.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, and we were kind of wrapping up that project. So I was like looking for
Yeah.
something to do next, of course. And it's a really funny story because I went home after set and I got the audition and I was like, oh my God, Mary J. Blige, this is so cool. What is this? Like, what is this? And
Right.
I taped the audition, but then my cat was missing and there was this whole thing and I was looking everywhere for it. I
Mm-hmm.
went to set the next day and I got my co-star to kind of help me read for it.
Yeah.
Later that day, she was talking to like the cinematographer and she was like, what are you doing next? And he's like, oh, I'm doing Mary J. Blige's Real Love. And she was like, oh my God, Princess is just auditioning for that. So I was very lucky where, I auditioned and I sent that through my agent. And then also the cinematographer talked to the director, Cameron Johnson.
Yeah.
And he kind of was like recommending me. He was like, I know this girl, Princess Davis, like, so
Nice.
the stars just came together and I had a call back and I gotta really it's funny because Terry in Real Love, she's very much like me. Like I'm very much just like goofy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to play and so fun to play. So in that audition, I really got to bring myself. I think that's, like we were talking about important being
Yeah.
authentic to you. So it
Yeah.
was so fun
That's
audition.
cool. That's cool. So where was this filmed? I had a bet. I'm like, this has to be in Canada. This has to be in Vancouver. It's got to be somewhere there.
Yeah.
Please tell me I'm right, because I'm gonna lose the bet. Please.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Y'all heard that, y'all? Was it easier for you to kind of access and get to these places because it was so close to home?
Oh yeah, I live here, so it's so easy, and everything kind
Mm-hmm.
of comes in like the suburbs, so like Abbotsford, Langley, kind of,
Yes.
yeah, and I live really close to that, so it was
Mm-hmm.
very easy.
Right. So what was it like working with Mary J. Blige? Did you meet her? And what was it like fulfilling the vision?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't get to meet her because of her schedule, but my co-stars met her, and from
Mm,
what I've heard, she's very incredible. So I can't wait to meet
yes.
her today. And I think, when I got the project, when I heard that I booked it, I was like, wow, people are gonna watch this because it's Mary
Mm,
J. Blige, and it's kind of like the first of something that she's doing.
yeah.
Um, so fulfilling that vision was just a lot of like studying and trusting myself and recognizing that I'm worth this space. I'm allowed to take up space in this way.
Yeah.
I think I just like I really like I studied Mary J. Blige in the olden days, and I watched like a lot of her music videos to kind of get like
Hmm.
swagger for my character, Missy Elliott as well. I just took inspiration from the past, and I watched House Party. I watched a lot of movies, loving basketball.
Yes.
Yes. So a lot of studying to kind of make sure that I felt comfortable going into it.
Okay. And playing Terry, you said you guys had a lot of similarities
Mm,
in kind of intertwining. We
yeah.
do also know that in part two of this movie, things kind of go left. We're gonna get into that, but let's talk about the good stuff first. So getting to play Terry in the beginning, what was that like for you?
It was so fun. It was so fun. I remember from day one, like me and Adriana Alexis, who plays Kendra,
Yes.
beautiful job. We just like we got along so well. She was like a big sister to me, and our dynamic in the film is kind of like that as well. But like I'm the big sister to her in the movie.
Uh,
So it was just so fun. Like she's so funny. There was a lot of like humor back and forth, and we felt like we were sisters at the end of the day. Like we
yeah.
felt very connected. So it
Hmm.
was so fun, and Terry's so funny. So
Yeah.
it's just a lot of like, how would I want to do this? Like how can I play more? And the director was really good about like giving us space to play. So it was really
Yeah.
fun.
And how was it like, with the rest of the cast? Like, Da Vinci also plays a
Yeah.
role in this. How was it working with everybody and kind of bringing that vision to life?
Yeah, everyone was so incredible. Da Vinci is so talented himself, and he's so
Hmm.
funny as well. I remember this one of the first scenes, the first scene actually in Marriage in Real Love, where we're all together.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like hitting on Ben Da Vinci. You know, that was like a really fun day because we were like, oh, this is the movie, like this is the gang, like
Yes, yes.
this is our like connection. And
Hmm.
that's what it was like on set. Like that, it was just everyone was played their parts. Everyone just kind of lived their lives, and we're also connected, and we'd hang out after set
Hmm.
and stuff, and
Nice.
fun. Yeah.
Nice. So without giving so much away, because I know for people who haven't watched it yet, what were some standout moments during the behind the scenes filming, or maybe something that happened while filming that was like an aha moment for you?
Yeah, in Real Love.
Yes.
Yeah, in Real Love. Um, I think there's a scene, I how do I say this without spoiling it? There's a scene where Kendra finds her voice and kind of um makes acceptance with what has happened to her and kind of where she is in her life.
Yeah.
I was like, this is where, you know, Terry comes in. This is what this movie has built up, and
Hmm.
trying to be like that support system
Yeah.
for Kendra and also for Adriana because she had a lot to go through as well. Um,
Hmm.
but I think like I think it was also a part where Terry slowed down, you know, because in the
Yeah.
beginning he felt like, oh, let's go,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like a good like refreshing part, and I think for me as the actor,
Hmm.
just the same.
You
Mhm.
know, then we get to part two, guys. When things this aren't as they always seem, and the best friend becomes the betrayer.
Mhm.
And that's all I can say there, right? That's all I can say. But how was it kind of now navigating over to another side of who Terry was, right? Because it's
Mhm.
like, the balance of both worlds. So how was that for you to be able to prepare for that role, knowing that that was going to take place?
Yeah, when I got that script, we were like one of the last days of Real Love. So I was like,
Mhm.
oh my God, what the hell? Like, what are we doing? I think it was a lot of like studying myself as an actor and studying my
Yeah.
life, kind of like where are my mistakes, you know,
Hmm.
I learned. You know, I think it's also very human. Like people do make mistakes, and unfortunately, it's a big one.
Yeah.
But I think I really just tried to connect with Terry's struggle in that moment, especially throughout the
Hmm.
movie, because she's really encouraging Kendra to kind of, you know, make peace with her life and kind of leave her bad husband and focus on
Yeah.
something new, you know, and forgiveness. I think
Mm.
forgiveness is really important. So I was kind of like, where do I regret things in my life? How have I learned to forgive myself, and can I put that into Terry in this moment?
Yeah.
Also, it's like 10 years in the future. So
Hmm.
I worked on like my body language and being more grounded instead of like being crazy young Terry.
Yes. Yes.
So it was definitely a fun challenge.
Hmm. You mentioned um that this is now this part two of the movie takes place in the future,
Mm.
and that kind of speaks to growth, right, and maturity, not just as a woman but a person.
Yeah.
So would Princess Davis have forgiven Terry for what she done, what she did, shall I say?
I don't think Terry like ever forgave herself. You know, I
Mm.
think like Kendra is like her sister, you know, that's family to her.
Yeah.
Knows that what she's done like is a huge mistake. So
Hmm.
I think it's like a internal struggle, I think, where she wants to forgive herself, but
Yeah.
you know, can't face that. And I think telling Kendra is the beginning of her actually forgiving herself.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
Mhm.
kind of also speaks to sisterhood and friendship, right? Like, and even in real life, like mistakes happen, things take place, but it's how you hold yourself accountable in
Yeah,
those moments. And sometimes they take years, right?
exactly.
They're not tomorrow. They're not next week. Especially like what you were saying, when you internally haven't forgiven yourself for the wrongdoing. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's really, really big. So overall, right, what would you want people, right, who watched or have yet to watch it to leave with? What messages, what moments would you want them to take away?
Yeah, I think I'd want them to take away that, real love and forgiveness really stems from yourself. I think it's really like looking at yourself in the mirror and kind of forgiving yourself for the past and being okay with where you are.
Mm,
I think the movie like really tells that beautifully, kind of like finding your voice and
yeah.
putting yourself first, even if it hurts people, but if it's what's best for you, that's the truest form of love because it has to stem from inside, or else you can't really give it out. And I think
Yeah.
the fragility of life is always a really important one. I think
Yeah,
that connects to it. Hmm.
I agree. If you could speak to the young girl, right, the young Princess Davis, and talking to herself right now, what would you say to her? Because I feel like your story has kind of grown so much who you are, what you've developed, who you've become right now, versus the 3-year-old who was just thirsty and hungry and wanted to just get out. What would you
Yeah.
say to her right now?
Oh my gosh. I'd say have more fun, really discover who you are and not what other
Yeah.
people want you to be. Try different things, like
Mm-hmm.
get outside of your comfort zone. Don't
Yeah.
feel like there's only one set way of doing something and
Mm-hmm.
live your life for you, especially being young, there's so much
Yeah.
to like discover who you are.
Mm. And what are you looking to do next, right? What you are tapping into these roles. What is a dream role for Princess Davis?
Oh, a dream role would be an A24 film, something like that. I love these movies. I really want to do something on Netflix, so that'd be really cool, like a Netflix show. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I'm very close, so we'll see what happens.
And I'm being a little bit nosy, right? So I know you're an actress, but I also see a guitar back there. You play?
I play ukulele and a
Oh,
little bit, yeah, but
okay.
it's not mine. I'm learning. I play piano.
Nice. How long have you been doing that?
Piano for like 2 years, and I just bought a ukulele like a month ago, and
Nice.
I know two songs.
I'm I am the same way. No judgment. My hands are really fat, right? So it's hard to try to strum those keys. I
Yeah.
can't. I can't do it at all. Like I don't know. I feel like my thumb holds the whole
So,
string.
honestly, that's what it's got to be. It's what's got to be.
So let's talk about what's up next for Princess Davis. How can we support you and how can people follow you?
Cool. My Instagram's I am Princess Davis.
Yes.
Twitter, I'm Princess Davis. It's kind of all I really use. Right now I'm doing this film about it's about this girl who gets like lost in space and there's like a shipwreck and she's like running out of oxygen. And basically the whole like premise of the show is it's about the fragility of life. It's her final moments alive and it's kind of connecting to like what drives you,
Yeah.
like it's that driving force that you've kind of spent your whole life like building. And for her, it's her family, it's like her love, so it's very much about love and like loving people and spreading that joy. It's sad,
Mm.
it's depressing. It's fun, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
And we can't wait to tap in with you. Everybody, this is Princess Davis. You are now part of the Courtney's Corner community, so you are always welcome back anytime. You are now family. You are now a cousin.
Hey.
So don't be a stranger. Everybody, this is Princess Davis. Please make sure if you have not done so yet, go tap into real love and strength of a woman that is now showing on Lifetime. Check your local listings. Thank you so much for being here, Princess Davis. I appreciate you for tapping in with me. And I thank all of you for watching and have a great evening. Enjoy your Friday and I love you for watching. Thank you so much.